The reason we had Rachel Zegler on the docket is she's an asshole.
Megyn Kelly just destroyed Rachel Zegler over Snow White disaster. Buckle up for a deep dive into Disney's disastrous Snow White remake, Rachel Zegler's cringe-worthy comments, and Megyn Kelly's brutal take that'll leave you speechless.
Every time she speaks, she gets less likable. There's some clip of her on the internet in her Snow White outfit saying, "Every hour I am in the outfit of Snow White wearing the dress. All 18 hours, I deserve to be paid for every single one." Oh, really? Are you having trouble?
Grab some popcorn because we're about to witness a full-on Hollywood breakdown. No, this Hollywood meltdown is not about award show celebrities who lecture about climate change while they fly via private jet. Megyn Kelly unleashed a brutal attack on Rachel Zegler about the disastrous remake of Snow White that left everyone face-palming. It's the kind of disaster that makes you wonder, how does this keep happening? What makes Hollywood transform iconic properties into unwanted adaptations that no one requested? Oh, wait, I know. They complicate things too much with unneeded alterations and then get confused when audiences fail to appreciate their changes. And the best part? They never learn. Nope, they intensify their efforts while labeling their audience members toxic before accusing them of failing to understand their work. Classic.
Can we spend 1 minute on Snow White and how it totally imploded at the box office this weekend? It was so delicious. The thing they spent $170 million to make the thing, and it had the lowest opening, under $50 million, of any of these live action Disney remakes that they've ever had, even the one that was their worst.
Now, let's back up. Disney chose to give the beloved 1937 animated movie Snow White a complete woke transformation that has received significant criticism from fans. The task of leading the woke transformation of Snow White fell perfectly on Rachel Zegler, who functions as modern-day Hollywood's greatest PR crisis.
Their star, Rachel Zegler, was so unlikable, told all Trump supporters that they could fuck off, excuse me, but she did. That was just in November. They didn't even know she was going to do that one. Said she hated Snow White, mocked the fact that there was a prince, and that she falls in love as opposed to leaning into her own power.
Disney decided to eliminate the dwarfs from the story while making the prince unimportant and transforming Snow White into an independent female warrior who no longer needs romance. That totally makes sense for a story literally named after its lead character who, oh yeah, was saved by a prince. It's like taking Cinderella and deciding the glass slipper is problematic. Or remaking Little Mermaid but saying Ariel never needed to go on land. You know, just casually deleting the entire point of the movie.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White. She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Oh, here we go. Rachel shares her perspective on why the original movie appears weird and outdated. You're probably thinking of the film that society officially names a timeless classic. People from generation to generation have adored this film. Yeah, that one. The actress talked endlessly about how the new movie differed from its predecessor by having Snow White pursue adventure instead of waiting for romance, and criticized the original film's conservative characteristics. Look, we get it. Times change. Maybe we could find a method to introduce present-day elements while keeping what gave the original its charm intact. Why would you take part in a remake production if you dislike the original content? Picture being chosen to play Spider-Man while simultaneously labeling the great power, great responsibility ideology as unappealing. It's bizarre.
This is the same woman who posted on Instagram after the election. "I find myself speechless in the midst of this. Another 4 years of hatred, leaning us toward a world I do not want to live in, leaning us toward a world that will be hard to raise my daughter in."
Megyn Kelly, the queen of "I'm just gonna say what we're all thinking," addressed this disaster with a firm "nope, not on my watch." She delivered her message without any reservations.
Leaning us toward a world that will force her to have a baby she doesn't want. There's no daughter and there's no daughter's baby. Leaning us toward a world that is fearful. This law should not have been, and it certainly should not have been by so many votes.
Megyn delivered an unfiltered criticism towards Zegler about how actors tend to lose sight of their primary responsibility to entertain the audience. It's the equivalent of seeing someone win the lottery, yet complaining about carrying a hefty amount. Like, really? She questioned Disney about its tactics of pushing away the fundamental audience base. The audience who adored Snow White in the past should still enjoy the updated version because they haven't changed. Your insult towards the fans will produce a direct consequence. The audience will choose not to purchase tickets.
She has to go. I'm sorry, Disney. She has to go. And you're going to put out a Disney film with Snow White, a beloved American character, with a woman who hates more than half the country, the half that just elected Donald Trump.
Kelly attacked Disney's decision to convert a timeless fairy story into a message about independent women who don't need a prince. People clearly wanted a modernized Snow White film that omitted dwarf companions and love story sequences.
That is totally uplifting and the right way to be woke, Link, when you actually canceled the roles for the marginalized population because just putting them on screen is somehow racist.
Disney executives decided to reimagine the movie by removing every magical element it formerly possessed. No iconic romance, no fun supporting characters, and worst of all, no dwarfs. I mean, come on. Creating a Toy Story film without actual toys would be identical to what Disney executives have done to their classic productions.
Well, that's what they do in the movie. They're so torn. They know there's a romance here. They've got a prince-like character, but he's not a prince. He's like a Robin Hood guy. And they know that there's got to be a kiss. There's got to be certain elements that they can't avoid.
It appears that studio decision makers purposefully set their new productions for failure. Disney executives continuously alter beloved classics into unrecognizable versions, yet wonder why viewers reject them. The Hollywood method of personal destruction amounts to starting a house fire and then expressing surprise when flames engulf the structure.
Did the dwarfs make it or no?
Well, the CGI dwarfs did. Of course, that goes back to the original controversy where Peter Dinklage, a very talented little person actor, said, "Why are we doing that? We've hired a Latina actress to be Snow White."
Because let's be real here, the viewers don't just want to see Snow White, but also the classic elements of Prince Charming and the Seven Dwarfs along with Snow White herself. Viewers seek princesses and princes in their medieval fantasy, not a girl boss TED talk about how men are irrelevant. But hey, what do we know? We're just the audience, right? Fans aren't against change. They're against bad change. The 2015 version of Cinderella and the 2017 production of Beauty and the Beast achieved success as both brands adapted their stories in ways that honored the classic versions. Why? Most fans approved because the creators treated their source material with respect along with their dedicated fan base. But this new Snow White? The adaptation presents itself as a fictional version Disney believes its fans crave instead of actual devotion to the original story. The public rejects this version because of its flawed execution. The controversy seemed to die down before Rachel Zegler expelled fresh flames. Instead of monitoring the situation, she chose to intensify her controversial statements, which produced escalating damage with each additional comment. At this point, it's almost impressive. It's like watching someone step on a rake, get smacked in the face, and then do it again. And again. And again. The PR team must be exhausted. Zegler embodies all the major missteps businesses should avoid when marketing a major movie through dismissive comments, awkward interviews, and unending controversies. Disney may change its habit of offering star roles to actors who display negative feelings about the content it handles. The public reaction has been strongly negative. Who would have guessed? Oh, right, literally everyone except Disney execs, who apparently live in a magical fantasy land where audiences love being talked down to. The backlash has been brutal. Social media users have completely dismantled the updates. At the same time, fans attack Zegler for her remarks, and former Disney followers express their disapproval by saying, "This is not what we wanted." Audiences will express dissatisfaction when you alter a timeless classic in such a flawed manner. Disney continues to operate as if it can resolve public anger through deliberate denial of ongoing criticism. Such an approach won't work in reality. Attracting audience interest in your movies might be achieved better by respecting their intelligence rather than patronizing them. Megyn Kelly made a clear statement about this matter. The Snow White project appears destined for failure according to early indications, while Rachel Zegler's public relations team deserves commendations for its extensive work, and Disney remains puzzled about its continual box office disappointments. The public rejects adaptations that degrade their beloved original films. Audiences seek entertainment experiences that avoid feeling like school lessons. Audiences prefer watching compelling stories that combine excellent storytelling with likable characters. Is that too much to ask? Apparently, for Hollywood, it is. So what do you guys think? Is Megyn Kelly right? Does Disney's management lack an understanding of modern entertainment standards? Will Rachel Zegler continue to deliver cringe-worthy interviews throughout her career? And remember, if you ever land a dream role in an iconic film, maybe don't spend the whole time trashing it. Just a thought. Was Megyn Kelly right? Let us know.